If you're looking for an amazing e-bike under $500,
stop looking. I just got back from doing all of the tests for the GoTrax eFold. We did acceleration, speed, braking, hill climb, range, and a bunch of tests you've never seen anybody else do, like decibel, lux meter, and even getting a heat map. And honestly, even if you don't believe a word I say this entire review, it doesn't matter, because GoTrax is going to give you 31 days to return your bike. And even past that, if it breaks down in the next year, there's a warranty on that as well, which if you've seen all my reviews, you'll understand just how crazy some of these specs are. You're watching Rider Guide, where we've tested more than 200 portable electrical vehicles, and you're going to find out whether or not the eFold is worth your money. Let's get into it. But before we show you our results, we'll put their results up on screen. I'm not going to read them all out, so pause if you want them. Also, if you want to get the eFold for yourself or check the latest price, use the link in the description or scan our QR code on screen. It helps support all of the crazy testing that we do. All right, time for the unboxing portion of the video. I'm pretty excited about this because it's small, so I'm hoping I can beat my record time of 27 minutes. It's one of the smallest, most portable e-bikes I've ever gotten, so I mean, maybe that means a faster build time. Let's find out. Go! And done. Definitely a little messy, but as usual, no missing or broken pieces. Every tool I need was in the box, plus more. I'll show you all the tools that it came with. Man, yeah, like I said, the smaller made this way easier to build. I think a lot of the time the harder problem I have is when getting on this front fender or getting on the wheel, you kind of have to lift the bike while you build it. But because this thing is so incredibly portable and light, it was no issue at all. So I guess the first test we typically do is acceleration. So let's see if this is a Mighty Mouse or not. Put Mighty Mouse clips on screen right now. All right, first up as always is everybody's favorite, acceleration, because speed test is important, but this is a class 2 bike, and so it can definitely go 20 miles per hour. The only thing for a speed test is to see if we can get it to go over 20 miles an hour. But for acceleration, this is probably the most relevant because A, this will help you with your hill climb, B, this is going to be what you're experiencing every time you start the bike. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't expect too much out of this, but let's see how it does. Dope. So for acceleration, this thing got up to speed plenty quick, as you saw. I'll put the exact numbers up on screen right now, but in general, it felt zippy. As you'll see from the hill test, I think the zippiness actually helps it a lot with things like hill climb. I'm cheating a little bit. I put hill climb last, but I film it first just because it makes sense and it's one of the harder things to film. I didn't expect a 350 watt motor to feel this zippy, especially a sub $500 e-bike. That's really insane to me. Yeah, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite bikes I've ever reviewed. For the price point and for the weight and for the range, this thing is definitely a steal. I think it could beat a lot of $1,000 e-bikes out there, honestly. So you're getting a lot more results for half the cost, which is honestly insane. All right, next up is top speed. Once again, not an issue of if it can get 20. Let's see if we can get it to go over 20. Also, for the top speed, we'll be kind of wanting to see how it feels, if there's any speed wobble, just what the bike generally feels like. Another thing we'll be testing is this at 100% battery and then again later at 10% battery to see if it drops off. A lot of e-bikes tend to get slower if they're on lower battery. Anyways, let's get into it. Okay, as you can tell, I'm quite tired from trying to get this thing to brake 20 miles per hour, but way to go, GoTrax. The limiter is good. You are not going to brake 20 miles per hour. Yeah, so overall impressions. Yeah, so in getting this thing up to top speed, it got there pretty quickly, but you saw that from the acceleration. It was no wobble. I was expecting from these smaller tires to deal with some sort of a wobble, but honestly, we were good, especially considering that there is neither front nor rear suspension. Yeah, definitely you'll be able to get up to top speed with this thing, no problem. Yeah, I'm honestly really impressed. Let's get on to the next test. Okay, final test is braking. This may not seem like that much of an exciting test, and you honestly probably won't think about your brakes until a car pulls in front of you or you have to slam on your brakes because you didn't notice something going on. These are dual disc brakes. I'm excited about the dual, but they're mechanical, not hydraulic. Obviously, at this price point, I would not expect hydraulic brakes, but I'm still excited to see dual disc brakes. So let's see how these bad boys do. We're going to be doing 3 tests, stopping from 20 miles per hour. So for braking, this thing did a great job. I felt like, obviously this isn't hydraulic disc brakes, so if I'm being realistic, you're going to squeeze, you're going to feel it not clamp down completely, which is good and bad. It's good because you're not going to brake so hard that you're going to fly over your handlebars, but it's bad because it's not gripping as hard as it needs to be to stop you ASAP, because obviously you're not going to have like an ABS system on an e-bike. Actually, I'll look into that. Maybe there are e-bikes with ABS, but yeah, it'll get you stopped
stopped in time, I would just take that into account. The nice thing is this bike is really light, so despite the fact that the brakes aren't going to cut your stop time exactly as much as they could, there's also not going to be a lot of weight adding to your momentum. Yeah, huge fan of this so far. This is definitely the best tech you're going to get out of this price range, and honestly, some better tech than you're going to be getting out of higher price points. Let's get into the next thing. That is how you get a sticker off of an e-bike. Very carefully. Stickers, man. They ruin Lego sets. They ruin every packaging experience. All right, guys, I'm here at the hill with the GoTrax eFold. I honestly will be very impressed if this thing makes it up without a little bit of pedaling, just because it's a 350 watt motor. I've had $2,000 e-bikes struggle on this hill. So man, if a $500 e-bike makes it up it, way to go, GoTrax. I'll be happy even if I do it with moderate pedaling. Let me show you after this car gets by. Let me show you the hill that we're on. This is a lot steeper than it looks. If you were running up this hill, you would be crying unless you're in very good shape. This is a 200-foot hill at a 10% grade, so unless you are in San Francisco, this is about the steepest hill you would face on a daily commute. We're gonna try this with no pedaling, and if it can't do it, we'll do it with pedal assist 1, and I'll just do light pedaling and let you know how much effort it takes. Yeah, let's get into it. Okay, we'll figure out exactly how long that took, but I am extremely impressed. I guess it just goes to show, I mean, I'm sure there's some physics that goes into it, but whatever physics it is, GoTrax clearly understands, because 350 watts should not have made it up that hill that easily. It did take some time. Honestly, I would choose to pedal, but very impressed by what $500 can get you. Okay, so I did 3 more runs there. 2 of them no pedaling, and 1 of them with pedaling, just to see how much the pedaling helps. I call it just rocking. Like, it's just like you're pedaling and you're kind of just moving your legs at whatever feels comfortable, nothing burning, nothing trying. It made it up the hill again 2 times in a row. Didn't destroy the battery or anything. With a little bit of rocking, it was much quicker. I'll put the times up on screen. Yeah, let's go ahead and get to the rest of this and see what else this bad boy can do. All right, now for the weird test part of the video. We've got a couple of things here. I'll just bring them up to the screen. We've got a lux meter to make sure the headlight's bright enough. We've got a decibel meter to make sure that the front horn is loud enough. We've got a scale because a lot of people like to be a little too optimistic about the weight of their bikes. And I think this is actually the coolest one. Here we have this to check to make sure the heat on the bike, there isn't heat bleed in any weird places, just to make sure that the electronics are well built. Okay, first up is horn. So this thing only has a bell. That is what I would expect for this price range. So bells peak out really fast, so you're seeing we're getting around 60, which isn't exactly what you would want to see, as horns are around 80, but it's peaking at 80, so that's good. So this will get the attention a little bit, but because it's not a sustained 80, so you definitely want to upgrade to like a cheap $5 bell on Amazon or something like that. Next up is weight. Okay, we're getting 189.2 for my weight, a little bit down from last week. And it looks like we're getting 241.4. So I'll put up the difference on screen, but this thing is insane light for an e-bike. I mean, I probably said it like 8 times in this video, but it's just like, this is crazy. I'm not even that strong, and I could probably do little tricks. Yes, all the way around. It's gonna definitely be like the most portable bike. Okay, we're back. Bumped into a garbage can on my half-mile run, so that's just the dangers of being a reviewer. Okay, so it looks like the brake actually heated up quite a bit, which makes sense. I did go up and down a hill to just get the thing heated up as much as possible. Not really hot to the touch, but definitely just avoid touching that after you've been braking. Looks like this wire here, which is going to the rear motor, not feeling hot to the touch at all. I left the light on too while I rode, just to see if that heats up too much or something like that. I shouldn't make a habit of just touching hot stuff. Probably gonna burn me one day, so I should be more careful. But on to the next test. Okay, next is the lux meter. So you're gonna be part of the test for me, Hado. Maybe this will scare you. No, I'm around 10 feet away. Looks like we're getting just 1,000 lux. Kind of hard to communicate just how bright this is, but like I was driving this around the other night and it was shining on trees across the street, so it'll definitely show you where you're going, and it's plenty bright. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of ramble for this part of the video, just giving overall ride impressions, what I thought, and of the bike overall, just in summary. If you want to get to the conclusion, feel free to just skip ahead. Yeah, so I rode this thing for 20 miles and got to do speed tests, hill climb, everything you can think of, and got
got a sense for how comfortable it feels, what it feels like to pedal. Let's just start with generally the negative things, because I like to start with the negative things. It is a single gear bike. That's a bit of a problem because obviously you're going to be putting up with the fact that pedaling is going to be inefficient. And since it is a 350 watt, despite the fact that it will hill climb great, it'll accelerate great. When you do want to pedal, especially at higher speeds, it's not going to feel exactly how you would want it to. I would like for bikes to just start including a louder horn. It's very important for safety to have a horn that can go above 80 decibels as for a sustained period of time, just to beat out traffic. And then next up, twist throttle isn't my favorite. I like thumb throttle better. When you've been riding it around all day, you'll definitely notice that holding the throttle down in this position makes your wrist feel weaker, and obviously you could like reposition, but then it's an issue of confusion, like where is my wrist, what is the throttle on and releasing and all that. I just like the thumb throttle. It's always in the same place. It's always the same grip. But yeah, that's just a matter of opinion. But then, I mean, honestly, there's no con for this thing that's going to make up for the pros, which is, okay, this thing can fold up, incredibly compact, is super duper light. It's under $500, which is insane. It's going to be able to go at least 15 miles. Like, this is with the most pessimistic estimates, which 15 miles is not going to be what a lot of other e-bikes are, but that's definitely within your realistic range for a commute. It'll get you to and from where you're going every day. Yeah, I didn't know a 350 watt motor could feel this strong, but apparently it's because there is the controller is very well tuned, and there's high amperage to it. You can ask chat about it for yourself. Yeah, so in conclusion, you got to see all the tests. If you want all the numbers, they're at our website, riderguide.com, plus way more, including coupons. And if you're wanting other bikes in similar price ranges and perhaps wanting an upgrade, I'd recommend the GoTrax Z4 Lite for a slight upgrade and the GoTrax Z4 Pro for a bigger one. Both of these are folding e-bikes that will definitely get you to and from your commute. The Z4 Pro is more of an off-roader type, and the Z4 Lite is definitely your commuter. But if you're strapped for cash or just getting this for your kid or something, I would definitely just go for the $500 one. It's everything you need. It's a fantastic e-bike. Honestly, I think they got a lot of the tech for this down from the Z4 Lite, or maybe they just have mastered this tech in general. Yeah, and if you want to support our channel, use the link in the description or scan the QR on screen. It helps support all the crazy testing that we do. If you have a better $500 e-bike, let us know about it and send it our way, because we would love to find something better than this. That would be insane. Also, this is a paid review. Obviously, we got this bike for free, but everything we say is genuine. We really do test these things, and we're allowed to say whatever we want within reason. And so we don't criticize anything unless it really deserves it, and we're open about the criticisms.
That's it for this one. Ride safe, and I'll catch you in the next review.